Are you shy to speak English? You're not alone. Many learners feel the same. But what if I told you that even shy people can speak English with confidence? In this video, I'll show you step by step how to start a conversation, even if you're scared, nervous, or unsure of the right words. Stay with me till the end. You'll be surprised how easy it becomes. And tell me in the comments, what scares you the most about speaking English? Chapter 1. I was too shy to say hello. I remember it clearly. I was standing in the hallway. Two students were speaking in English. They were laughing. They looked confident. I wanted to say hello, but my mouth stayed closed. My heart beat fast. My hands felt cold. My mind said, "Say something." But my voice didn't come. I just looked down and walked away. I was not stupid. I knew some English words. I knew how to say hi. I knew how to say my name is. But I was shy. I was scared. I thought they would laugh. I thought I would say it wrong. My mind made it feel like a big mountain. One simple word, hello, felt too heavy, too difficult, too scary. At school, English class was okay. I listened, I read, I wrote, but speaking? I never raised my hand. I never wanted to read out loud. When the teacher looked at me, I looked away. I hoped she wouldn't ask me anything. I was good at hiding. I was good at being quiet. Inside, I wanted to speak. I wanted to talk to people. I wanted to make friends. But I was frozen. I watched others speak easily. I listened to their words. I copied their sentences in my notebook. But when it was my turn, everything disappeared. The words were gone. My mind was blank. My voice was missing. It felt like I had two worlds. One world was inside my head. In that world, I could speak English. I could answer questions. I could make jokes. I could say, "Hi, how are you?" and smile. The second world was real life. In real life, I was silent. I watched. I listened. But I didn't speak. I hated this feeling. I wanted to break this silence. But every time I tried, fear came. Fear of being wrong. Fear of being laughed at. Fear of not knowing the next word. And because of that fear, I stayed quiet. I remember one day during break time, a boy from another class walked up to me. He said, "Hi." He smiled. I froze. I wanted to say hi back, but nothing came. I just smiled and walked away. That night, I cried. I felt stupid. I felt weak. Why couldn't I say one small word? That was the moment I knew something had to change. I couldn't live in silence forever. I couldn't keep running away. I told myself, it's okay to be shy, but it's not okay to stay silent forever. I made a small plan. I would learn how to start a conversation. I would take baby steps. I would not be perfect, but I would try. That night, I stood in front of the mirror. I looked at my reflection. I said one word. Hello. It sounded soft, almost like a whisper. I said it again. Hello. Louder this time. I said it again and again. 10 times. 20 times. Hello, hello, hello. My mouth started to feel more confident. My voice started to feel stronger. I imagined talking to someone. I imagined saying, "Hi," My name is Sam. I practiced it in front of the mirror, again and again. I smiled. I waved. I tried to look confident. I knew it was silly. I knew it looked funny, but I didn't care. I was practicing for real life. The next morning, I walked to school. My plan was simple. Say hi to one person. Just one. That's all. My heart was beating fast. My hands were shaking. But I remembered my mirror practice. I remembered my voice. I took a deep breath. I saw someone from my class. I looked at them and said, "Hi." They looked surprised. Then they smiled. "Hi," they said. And that was it. A small start. A tiny conversation. But for me, it was everything. That hi gave me power. It gave me hope. I felt proud. I felt like I had broken a wall. I was still shy. I was still nervous. But I had started. I had taken the first step. That day changed me. I learned something very important. You don't have to be fluent to start speaking. You don't need big words. You just need courage. One word can open many doors. One hello can start a new story. And if you're watching this right now and you feel the same, scared, shy, silent, I want you to know. I understand. I was there. But you can change too. Just start with one word. Just say, hi. Let's go together, step by step. I'll show you how I learned. I'll tell you what worked for me. And maybe it will work for you too. Chapter 2. I wanted to speak, but my mind went blank. After I said hi that day, I felt strong. I thought, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can talk more. The next day, I wanted to try again. I walked into school with a small plan in my heart. I said, today I will speak one more sentence. I will ask, how are you? I said it many times before I left home. How are you? I whispered. How are you? I repeated in my head. On the way to school, I said it again and again. I felt ready. But when I saw someone I knew, I forgot everything. My mind went blank. I could not remember the sentence. I stood there. I smiled, but my mouth did not open. The person passed by and said nothing. I missed my chance. I felt angry at myself. Why was it so hard? It was just 3 words, but I forgot them. I forgot how to speak. That day, I learned something very real. Speaking English is not just about words. It is about fear. Fear blocks the brain. It hides the words. Even if you know them, fear makes you forget. Fear says, be quiet. Stay safe. Don't make mistakes. And I listened to that fear. Later that day, I went home and thought deeply. I remembered the sentence, how are you? I knew it again. My mind was clear. I asked myself, why do I forget when I see people? The answer was simple. I was nervous. I was shy. I wanted to speak perfectly. And that made me stop speaking at all. I decided to change that. I said, it's okay to forget. It's okay to be nervous, but I will not stop trying. That night, I stood in front of the mirror again. I looked at myself and said, how are you? I added, I'm fine, thank you. Then, what about you? These small sentences were like a small song. I repeated them again and again. The next morning, I felt better. I told myself, don't try to be perfect. Just try. I saw a classmate. I smiled and said, "Hi." He said, "Hi" back. Then I said, "How are you?" It was fast. My mouth moved on its own. He smiled and said, "I'm good. You?" I was surprised. I forgot what to say next, but I smiled and said, "Good." It was not perfect. It was short, but it was real. A real conversation, and that made me proud. My heart was still racing. But I didn't run away. I spoke. I did not freeze. That day, I learned something new. When you speak English, your brain and your mouth are like friends. But when fear comes, they stop talking to each other. So I had to train them to be brave together. That's why I practice the same sentence again and again. Repetition is power. Saying it once is not enough. You must say it 10 times, 20 times, until it comes naturally, until it flows like water. That is how I trained my brain. I also learned to speak slowly. When I spoke fast, I made mistakes. When I slowed down, I felt calm. So I told myself, slow is okay. Slow is strong. Sometimes I still forgot words. Sometimes I said them wrong. But I smiled and kept talking. That made all the difference. People saw that I was trying. They helped me. They listened. They smiled back. And every time I spoke, I felt a little more brave, a little more ready. My sentences were not long, but they were real. And that was enough. If you are watching this and your mind goes blank when you try to speak English, don't worry. It happens to all of us. Even now, I sometimes forget words. But I don't let that stop me. And you shouldn't either. Next time you forget a word, just smile. Take a deep breath, say a different word, or say, "Sorry, I forgot the word." That's still English. That's still brave. Speaking is not about being perfect. Speaking is about trying, even when it's hard, even when your mind is empty. You try, and each time it gets easier. So remember this: if you want to speak, you will speak. Just keep going. Even if your mind goes blank, even if your voice shakes, speak anyway. That's how confidence is built. I will walk with you. I will show you how I learned to speak. You are not alone. Together, we can do this. Chapter 3: How I Learned 3 Magic Sentences. After I spoke those first words, "Hi" and "How are you?" something changed. A small light turned on inside me. It was not bright yet, but it was there. I had taken the first step. I had tasted the joy of speaking. I wanted more, but I didn't know what to say next. That night, I sat with my notebook. I opened a clean page. At the top, I wrote, "How to start a conversation." Under that, I stared at the empty lines. I didn't want big grammar rules. I didn't want long sentences. I just wanted words that would help me talk to someone. Simple words, friendly words. I remembered something my English teacher once said. Good conversation starts with 3 things: a greeting, your name, and a question. That helped me. So I wrote 3 simple sentences, 3 magic sentences. The first one was, "Hi, how are you?" The second was, "My name is Alex." And the third was, "What's your name?" I said them out loud. Hi, how are you? My name is Alex. What's your name? They sounded soft, kind, and safe. They were not scary. They were normal. And that's what I needed. I practiced these 3 sentences like they were part of a song. I repeated them again and again. I said them in the morning. I said them in the evening. I whispered them when I walked. I said them in front of the mirror. Sometimes I said them with a smile, sometimes with a serious face. I made my voice stronger each day. The more I said them, the more they felt like mine, like my tools, my weapons against silence, my key to new friendships. I wanted to test them in real life. So I made a plan. I would use all 3 sentences with someone new. I waited for the right moment. It came one afternoon during lunch. A student I didn't know sat next to me. My heart started beating fast. My mouth felt dry. But I remembered my practice. I turned to him and said, "Hi, how are you?" He looked at me and smiled. "I'm good. You?" I nodded and said, "My name is Alex." "Oh, cool," he said. "I'm Bilal." Then I asked, "What's your name?" Even though he had just told me. We both laughed. It was okay. That moment was powerful. It was short, but it felt big. It was a full circle. I had spoken 3 complete sentences, and the other person replied. We had a real conversation. After that, I felt more confident. I realized that I didn't need hundreds of words. I didn't need perfect grammar. I just needed these small, friendly sentences. Over the next few days, I used them again. I said, "Hi, how are you?" to my teacher. "My name is Alex," to a new student. "What's your name?" to a boy in the library. Each time I used these magic sentences, the conversation opened. People smiled. They answered. They talked. One day someone asked me, "Where did you learn to speak like this?" I smiled and said, "Just 3 sentences. I practice them every day." They laughed and said, "Well, it's working." That day, I added something new to my notebook. I wrote, 3 magic sentences can open many doors. And it was true. These sentences helped me stop being afraid. They helped me speak first. They helped me feel human, not shy. If you are shy and you don't know how to start speaking, try this. Write your own 3 magic sentences. Say them 10 times a day. Say them to the wall, to your mirror, to your teddy bear. It doesn't matter. What matters is that your mouth gets used to the words. What matters is that your fear becomes smaller. You don't need to know everything. You don't need big words. You just need the courage to speak first. And these 3 sentences are your helpers. Even now, when I meet someone new, I still say, "Hi, how are you?" It never gets old. It always works. It's a simple way to say, "I'm here. I want to talk." And if you're watching this right now, I want you to try it too. Say the first sentence out loud, right now, wherever you are. Just say it. "Hi, how are you?" Don't worry if no one is there. Just say it. That is your first step. Now, let's go deeper. What if you want to talk more? What if you want to have a real chat, not just say hello? That's what I'll show you in the next part. Chapter 4. I practiced alone in my room, and it worked. After I learned my 3 magic sentences, I felt good. But I knew something. Saying hi, how are you was a good start. But I wanted more. I wanted to talk about simple things. I wanted to ask and answer real questions. But still, I was shy. I could not practice with people every day. So I found a secret way to practice. I started talking to myself. Yes, that's right. I talked to myself in my room, in the mirror, on my bed, in a whisper, sometimes out loud. At first I felt strange. I thought, is this silly? But I remembered something my teacher once said. If you don't have someone to talk to yourself. That is also speaking. So I began. I stood in front of the mirror. I looked at my own face. I said, "Hi, how are you?" Then I answered, "I'm good." "What about you?" I asked, "What's your name?" Then I said, "My name is Alex." It felt like a game. I was playing 2 people. I asked and I answered. I smiled at myself. I made eye contact. I practiced using my voice. I saw how my face looked when I talked. I learned to speak clearly. Every day after school, I went to my room. I closed the door. I stood in front of the mirror. I made up small conversations. I imagined I was talking to someone new. I said things like, "Hi, do you like football? What did you eat today?" I watched a cartoon. It was funny. They were short sentences, but they were real. They helped me feel like I was speaking. Slowly, I felt stronger. My voice became louder. My fear became smaller. Some days, I walked around the room and talked. I described things I saw. I pointed to the table and said, "This is a table." I pointed to the window and said, "The sky is blue." I looked at my shoes and said, "These are my shoes." I also practiced asking myself questions. I would say, "What day is it?" Then I would answer, "It's Monday." Or I would ask, "What time is it?" and answer, "It's 4 o'clock." It became a fun habit. It felt safe. No one was watching me. No one was judging me. No one laughed. It was just me and my English. Sometimes I recorded my voice. I used my phone. I spoke simple sentences and listened to how I sounded. At first, I didn't like my voice. It sounded different. But with time, I liked it. I listened again and again. I said, "Wow, I am speaking English. I am learning." I also wrote short talks in my notebook. I wrote fake conversations. I wrote A, hi, B, hello, A, how are you? B, I'm fine. What about you? Then I read them out loud. I acted them out. I played both parts. It felt like real practice. My English started to grow. One day, I went to the shop with my father. The shopkeeper smiled at us. I smiled back and said, "Hi." Then, without thinking, I added, "How are you?" He said, "I'm good." I felt proud. It was a small moment, but a big win for me. That night, I looked in the mirror and said, "It worked." All my practice worked. If you are shy, if you don't have someone to speak with, don't worry. You can speak with yourself. You can use your mirror. You can talk to your books. You can walk around your room and say what you see. It may feel strange at first, but it's real. It's helpful. And it works. Don't wait for someone else. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start now. Start today. Even if it's one sentence. Even if it's just, I am learning English. That is a great start. I still practice alone sometimes. When I learn a new word, I say it many times. I use it in a sentence. I repeat it until it feels normal. That's how your brain gets stronger. That's how your tongue learns to move. And remember this. Every great speaker once spoke alone. Every confident person once stood in front of a mirror and said their first, hello. You are not alone. You are on the right path. Keep going. I'm here with you. And in the next chapter, I'll tell you what happened when I used my practice in real life. When I had my first real conversation. It was scary, exciting, and something I'll never forget. Chapter 5. My first real conversation. I was shaking. I had practiced every day, in my room, in front of the mirror. I said the same sentences again and again. I was getting better. I could say, hi, how are you, without fear. I could say, my name is Alex. I could ask, what's your name? My voice was louder. My face looked more confident. I felt ready. But I still had one fear. Real people. Real situations. I had not yet spoken to someone in a full, real conversation. I had only said short lines, just greetings, no real talk. One day, everything changed. It was a warm morning. I went to school early. I saw a new student sitting alone on a bench. He looked nervous. He looked like he didn't know anyone. I felt something in my chest. My heart started beating fast. My legs felt weak. My mind said, go talk to him. But fear said, what if you make a mistake? I stood there. I looked at him. I looked at the ground. I took a deep breath. And then I walked toward him. Each step felt heavy. I felt like I was walking through water. My hands were shaking. My mouth was dry. But I remembered my mirror. I remembered my words. I stood in front of him and said, hi. He looked up. He smiled. Hi. My heart was racing, but I smiled back. I said, how are you? He replied, I'm okay. You? I said, I'm fine. Then I added, my name is Alex. What's your name? He said, I'm Imran. And just like that, it happened. My first real conversation. It was short. It was simple. But it was real. I sat next to him. I asked, is this your first day? He said, yes. I'm new here. I said, don't worry. I can help you. He smiled again. He looked happy. I felt proud. My fear was still there. My hands still felt a little shaky. But I had done it. I had spoken. I had started a real conversation. I had connected with someone. In English. That day, everything felt different. I walked into class with more confidence. I raised my hand to answer a question. I smiled more. I felt like something big had changed inside me. Later that day, Imran came and sat next to me during lunch. He said, thanks for talking to me this morning. I was nervous. I laughed and said, "Me too." We both laughed. We both understood each other, and we both felt less alone. That small talk turned into a friendship. We started speaking English every day. We made mistakes. We laughed. We helped each other. Each conversation made me better, more confident, more fluent. That's when I understood something big. Speaking English is not about big words. It's about connection. It's about courage. It's about starting. You don't need perfect grammar. You don't need a perfect accent. You need a brave heart. You need a few simple words and a little smile. If you are watching this right now and you are scared to speak, I understand. I was scared too. But I did it. And so can you. The first time will be hard. Your hands might shake. Your heart might beat fast. But after that first conversation, you will feel proud. You will feel strong. You will know that you can do it again. So go out. Say hi to someone. Ask a question. Listen to their answer. Just start. That's how it begins. And when you feel ready, come back for the next part. I will tell you about something important. How my mistakes helped me grow. Yes, my mistakes. The words I said wrong, the sentences I forgot, they didn't stop me. In fact, they made me brave. Chapter 6. Mistakes that made me brave. After my first real conversation with Imran, I felt proud. I wanted to speak more. I started saying hi to more people. I started asking small questions. I wanted to talk in English every day. But soon, I made a mistake. I was talking to a classmate. I wanted to say, I like reading books. But instead I said, I like reading boots. He looked confused. Then he laughed. I laughed too. But inside I felt bad. I thought, why did I say that? That's so silly. That day I went home and sat on my bed. I thought about the mistake. The word books and boots sounded close, but they meant different things. I felt sad at first. I thought maybe I should stop speaking. Maybe I'm not good at this. But then I asked myself, did I die? Number, did anyone get angry? Number, was I trying to speak? Yes. So I told myself, it's okay. You tried. That's what matters. The next day, I made another mistake. I said, he go to school. My friend said, you mean he goes to school? I nodded quickly. Yes, he goes to school. I made a mistake with grammar. But again, no one got angry. No one shouted. They just corrected me. And I learned. I started to notice something. Each time I made a mistake, I remembered the sentence more clearly. The mistake helped me learn. It made the lesson stronger in my mind. Before, I was afraid of mistakes. I thought they were bad. I thought they made me look stupid. But now, I saw the truth. Mistakes are teachers. Mistakes are part of learning. I changed how I looked at mistakes. I stopped hiding from them. I started using them. If I said something wrong, I repeated it correctly. If someone corrected me, I said, thank you. One day I said, I am boring. My friend laughed kindly and said, you mean I am bored? I was surprised. What's the difference? I asked. She said, boring means you are not fun. Bored means you want something fun. I laughed. I said, "Okay, then I am bored." That mistake taught me something I never forgot. Not just the grammar, but the joy of learning through mistakes. The moment was funny, real, and helpful. Now, when I talk to people, I don't care if I make a mistake. I keep going. I fix it. I smile. I learn. That's how I got better. And you can too. Don't wait to be perfect. You will never be perfect. Even native speakers make mistakes. Even teachers forget words. Even I, right now, still make small errors. But I speak anyway. Speaking is not about being perfect. Speaking is about being brave. Every mistake shows that you are trying. Every mistake brings you one step closer to fluency. So make them. Make many. Make big ones. Make small ones. Just don't stop speaking. I even made a mistake notebook. I wrote my wrong sentences. Then I wrote the right ones next to them. Every time I read it, I smiled, because it showed my progress. One day, I was speaking to a tourist. I made a small mistake. I said, "It is rain today." She smiled and said, "It's raining today." I nodded, "Yes, yes, thank you." And we kept talking. That one conversation taught me something more. Most people don't laugh. Most people help. They want to understand you. They are happy that you are trying. So don't be afraid. Make mistakes. Be proud of them. They are not failures. They are footsteps. They are proof that you are moving forward. If you are watching this right now and you feel scared to speak because you might say it wrong, I understand you. But I want you to take that fear and throw it away. You are a learner, and mistakes are your friends. Speak, mess up, learn, speak again. This is how we grow. In the next chapter, I'll show you something powerful, real phrases that helped me speak to people every day. I call them conversation starters. They are easy, fun, and they work. Chapter 7. Conversation. Starters I use every day. After learning from my mistakes, I started feeling different. I was not afraid like before. I didn't need to wait for someone to speak to me first. I could speak. I could start the conversation. But I still had one question in my mind. What should I say? I didn't want to just say hi and stop. I wanted to say more. I wanted to make friends. I wanted to talk, not just answer. So I started learning something important. Conversation starters. These are small, simple questions. Easy questions. Friendly questions. Questions that open the door to speaking. I remember the first one I used. I saw a classmate drawing in his notebook. I walked to him slowly. I smiled. Then I said, "Do you like drawing?" He looked at me and said, "Yes." "I love drawing." I said, "Your drawing is really good." He smiled and said, "Thanks." We started talking. Just like that. Because of one small question. That evening, I opened my notebook. I wrote down the question, "Do you like?" Then I added many more. "Do you like music? Do you like football? Do you like pizza? Do you like school?" These small questions are powerful. They are friendly. They make people talk. They show interest. And they are easy to answer. The next day, I used another question. I asked a girl in class, "What's your favorite subject?" She said, "Math." I said, "Really? I like English." We smiled. We talked. We became friends. That night, I added this to my notebook too. "What's your favorite?" Then I wrote more ideas. "What's your favorite movie?" "What's your favorite color?" "What's your favorite food?" I realized something very powerful. People like to talk about themselves. If you ask a good question, they will answer. And when they answer, you can listen. Then ask another small question. That's how you keep the conversation going. I practiced every question in front of the mirror. I said, "Do you like music? What's your favorite song? Where are you from? What do you do after school? Do you have any pets?" I didn't try to remember 100 questions, just 5 or 6. I used them again and again, and they worked. One day at the park, I saw a boy kicking a football. I walked closer and said, "Do you like football?" He looked at me and said, "Yes." Then I said, "Who's your favorite team?" He said, "Barcelona." I said, "Mine is Real Madrid." We laughed, we talked, we played together, all because of one easy question. Now, I use these conversation starters every day, at school, at the market, in the library, on the phone, even online. They are part of my English. They help me feel strong. They help me feel confident. They help me feel like I can talk to anyone. If you are watching this and you don't know what to say when you meet someone, start with these. You don't need big grammar. You don't need long sentences. Just one question, one smile. Here, I'll give you 5 to remember. Do you like music? What's your favorite food? Where are you from? What do you do on weekends? Do you have any brothers or sisters? Practice them. Say them in the mirror. Say them out loud. Say them to your friends. These are your keys. These are your tools. These are your voice. And if someone doesn't reply, that's okay. Try again with someone else. You are learning. You are growing. You are doing something powerful. In the next chapter, I will tell you something even more useful: how to keep a conversation going. After the first question, what do you say next? How do you keep talking? We will learn that next. Chapter 8: How to keep a conversation going. After I learned how to start a conversation, I felt proud. I could walk up to someone and say, "Do you like music?" Or, "What's your favorite subject?" People answered. They smiled. They talked. But soon, I had a new problem. After the first question, I didn't know what to say next. The person would answer, and then I would go quiet. I didn't want to say the wrong thing. I didn't know how to continue. So the conversation stopped. It felt like starting a car, but then not driving anywhere. One day I asked a classmate, "What's your favorite color?" She said, "Blue." I smiled and said, "Nice." Then silence. I just nodded. I wanted to say more, but I couldn't. The moment ended too fast. That day I went home and thought hard. I asked myself, how can I keep talking? What comes after the first question? I looked at some videos. I read some simple conversations in books, and then I understood something very helpful. There are 2 ways to keep a conversation going. Ask a follow-up question. Say something about yourself, and it sounded so easy. So I wrote these 2 steps in my notebook and made a plan. First, follow-up questions. These are small questions you ask after someone answers. For example, why? Really? Me too. When did you start? That's cool. Tell me more. These words are short but powerful. They show the other person you are listening. They help the conversation grow. I practiced this at school. I asked a boy, "What's your favorite sport?" He said, "Cricket." This time I didn't stop. I said, "Oh, nice. Why do you like cricket?" He smiled. "It's fun. I play every weekend." Then I said, "Really? That's great. Where do you play?" We kept talking. It worked. Next, I practiced talking about myself. This is the second step. After the other person answers, you say something about you too. It's like giving something back. For example, me. Do you like pizza? Friend. Yes. Me. Me too. I like cheese pizza the most. Now the person knows something about me too. That helps build connection. Sometimes I used both steps together. I asked, "Do you have any pets?" The girl said, "Yes, I have a cat." I replied, "Really? What's its name?" Then I added, "I don't have a pet, but I like cats." Just like that, the conversation became longer. It became friendly. It became fun. I started using small words that showed I was listening. Words like, "Wow, that's nice. Oh, I didn't know that. Same here." These little words made people feel good. They made me sound natural. And I learned something very important. You don't have to talk all the time. Just show that you care. Show that you are listening. That is enough. When I didn't know what to say, I just nodded. I smiled. I said, "Wow, that's interesting." Or I asked, "What happened next?" That was the secret. Conversations are not just about speaking. They are also about listening. Now I could keep a conversation going for 1 minute, then 3 minutes, then 5 minutes. I felt excited. I felt proud. One day, a teacher told me, "You're speaking so well now. What changed?" I smiled and said, "I just kept going." And that's the truth. Speaking is not about big words. It's about small steps. One question, one answer, one smile, again and again. If you are watching this and your conversations stop too soon, don't worry. Learn these 2 steps. Ask follow-up questions. Talk a little about yourself. Try it today. Try it with a friend, a family member, or even in the mirror. Ask something. Listen. Answer. Then ask again, like a small game. In the next chapter, I will share something beautiful, how all these small talks helped me become more social, more open, more brave. It changed my life. Chapter 9. From silent to social. My confidence grows. I still remember the quiet days, the days when I didn't speak, when I sat alone and watched others talk, when English felt like a wall I couldn't climb. I was shy. I was scared. I thought, maybe I will never be able to speak like them. But now, things were different. I had learned how to start a conversation. I had learned how to keep it going. I had made mistakes and kept going. I had asked questions, smiled, listened, and tried again. And step by step, something changed. I started talking more at school. I didn't wait for someone to speak first. I said hi with a smile. I asked, "How was your day?" I joined small group talks. At first, I just listened. Then I said one sentence, then two. Then I laughed with them. I became part of the group. One day, during break, a teacher came and sat near me. She said, "You speak so well now. You were so quiet before. What happened?" I looked at her and smiled. "I started with one word," I said, "and I never stopped." That small answer made me realize something. I was not the same anymore. I had changed. I was not the shy boy sitting alone. I was not afraid to speak now. I was not hiding. I was showing up, speaking up, and feeling strong. I even started helping other students who were shy. I told them, "It's okay. I was just like you." Try saying this sentence. I shared my 3 magic lines. I told them to practice in front of the mirror. I told them to make mistakes. I saw myself in them. And I gave them the same hope I once needed. One afternoon, my friend Imran and I walked home from school. He said, "You talk so much now. I remember the first time you said hi to me. You were so quiet." I laughed. "I was shaking," I said, "but I'm glad I did it." We both laughed. That was a full circle moment. I began speaking at school events. Small things, reading a poem, telling a story, even saying thank you on the stage. My hands still shook sometimes, but I did it. I stood tall. I spoke in English, and people clapped. My confidence grew day by day. Not because I became perfect, but because I kept going. I made English part of my daily life. I watched cartoons in English. I listened to songs. I wrote small notes in English. I talked to myself. I talked to others. I even started dreaming in English. Yes. One night, I dreamed I was talking to someone in English. In the dream, I was not scared. I was smiling. I woke up and smiled. That was a big moment for me. I told myself, "You did it. You changed. And you can too." If you feel silent now, just know it's not forever. You can speak. You can grow. You can change. Start small. One sentence, one smile, one question, then another, and another. Speak in your room. Speak in front of your mirror. Speak to your friend. Speak to a stranger. But speak, because speaking is power. It makes you brave. It opens doors. It changes how people see you and how you see yourself. From silent to social, that was my journey, and it can be yours too. In the final chapter, I will tell you one last message, the most important message. If you remember just one thing from this video, let it be this: you can speak too. Just start small. Chapter 10. You can speak too. Just start small. Now that you've heard my story, I want to leave you with one important message. You can speak too. It doesn't matter where you're starting from. It doesn't matter how many mistakes you make. What matters is that you keep going every single day. You start small, and step by step, you will see progress. I started as a person who couldn't even understand English. I didn't know how to join a conversation. I was scared. I was shy. But here I am, speaking to you, telling you my story, and sharing what I've learned. You might feel afraid now, but let me tell you, fear is normal. Everyone feels it. Even the people you admire. They were once where you are now. They were once afraid to speak. But they didn't give up, and neither should you. The key is to start small. You don't need to speak perfectly right away. You don't need to be fluent from the start. No one expects that. All you need to do is take one small step. One word. One sentence. Don't worry about making mistakes. Every mistake is a lesson. Every time you speak, you grow. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. Soon, you'll be speaking without thinking, just like me. And before you know it, you'll be confidently speaking with others, learning new words, and sharing your thoughts in English. Remember, no matter how quiet you feel right now, you have the power to change. You have the ability to learn and grow. And it all starts with one simple decision: to begin. So here's what I want you to do right now. Start small. Say one sentence in English today. Maybe you'll say, "Good morning" to someone. Maybe you'll introduce yourself. Maybe you'll read aloud from a book. Speak every day. Make it a habit. Speak to yourself. Speak in the mirror. Speak with your friends. The more you speak, the better you'll get. Don't be afraid of mistakes. Mistakes are part of the process. They will teach you more than perfection ever will. Ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask your teacher, your friends, or even me. We are all here to help you succeed. And remember, I was once just like you. I was afraid. I was quiet. But I made the choice to start small and keep going. You can do it too. So, I want to leave you with this final thought. You have everything you need to succeed. Just start, speak, and keep going. Thank you for watching, and I hope you feel inspired to take that first step. If this story touched your heart, if you feel shy but still dream of speaking English, then don't stop here. Start today. Say one sentence, and come back tomorrow for the next. Please like this video if you believe you can speak English too. Comment below with one simple sentence, just one, in English. Let's practice together. I will read your comment.